Hello and welcome, everybody. JP, how are you?
I'm great. How about you?
Well, I'm good now that the coffee is hit.
Has it?
Yeah, hit. So this morning, Chris and I read and we have coffee together. And the problem is we both drank 2 cups of coffee before our scheduled dose, because it is a dose. And I was driving here this morning thinking, I cannot wait for my 3rd cup of coffee. So
it's cup number 3 for you.
Cup number 3. Cheers.
Hey, wait. Cheers.
Cheers.
Clink.
Ding. Happy show. What is everybody's drink of choice in the morning? Don't answer if it's bourbon.
Yeah, I was about to say if it's alcoholic.
Don't answer if it's bourbon.
If it's alcoholic, well, I'll send you a number to call.
If it's coffee, fine. But you know how I'll know that you're from the South is if you tell me it's Pepsi Cola or Mountain Dew.
Can't do that in the morning.
Diet Mountain Dew. I know plenty of people who drink caffeinated beverages in the morning and they act like that's perfectly normal.
I can't do that.
It ain't. You got to wait until 10 o'clock.
Yeah.
That's when you can start drinking the carbonated beverages. And like we said, please don't tell us if your drink of choice is bourbon. We will lovingly refer you to a facility.
Yeah, I got a number for you to call. Don't worry.
Okay. So we want you to get help, but we just want to know, do you drink coffee? Do you drink tea? Or is it carbonation? Okay, simple. For JP and me, well, for me, it's coffee. For Chris, it's coffee. For JP, it's whatever the morning demands. Is that true?
Whenever you say that, it makes it sound like I'm drinking like tequila or vodka.
You're drinking Monster.
Okay, yeah, sometimes. Yeah, okay. I love how I just said I can't do like sodas in the morning, but you know what? Break glass if needed if I need a white Monster. Yeah.
Well, I mean,
it's a bit hypocritical.
All right. You're right. That is hypocritical.
Okay. Everything other than Monster, because Monster.
We back up, we listen, and we don't judge unless, of course, it's bourbon. And then we do. Okay. If you drink Monster, that's okay. Because that's an energy drink.
Yeah.
Okay. So is Pepsi and Coke. Never mind. We don't judge you anymore. What do you drink in the morning? I drink
We can't
coffee.
even keep our own facts straight.
We can't. He, however, if he needs a little boost, I've seen the guy 2-fisting a coffee and a Monster.
Yep. And I've gotten real jittery before doing that.
And sometimes we're like, JP, it's fine. You know how I know God loves us? He made us caffeine.
Yes.
Even if a goat was the first one to find it in the mountains of Yemen.
Wait, really?
Yeah.
I've never known the story of that.
Oh, yeah. A goat herder. So I read this amazing book that one of my besties recommended, and it was about the origins of coffee, and I forget the title. Incredible. One man's search for the perfect cup of coffee. But a goat herder noticed one day, they were in the mountains, of course, that his goats were unusually jumpy. And he went over to the bush that they were kind of around and picked off what was there. And that's basically how we found coffee. If the legends are to be believed.
Yeah, I'm saying according to famous 9th century Ethiopian legend, a goat herder named Kaldi noticed his flock became unusually energetic and began, quote, dancing after eating bright red berries from a local shrub. Curious, Kaldi tried the berries himself and experienced a sudden burst of energy.
So Ethiopia?
Yes.
Okay.
The legendary discovery led to a few key developments: the monastic brew, energy snacks, and chemical reality.
That's how we got coffee.
Interesting. I've always been I feel like this stuff in caffeine, like I didn't know caffeine was in chocolate until like a couple of months ago.
You were a couple years old ago?
Yeah. I didn't know chocolate had caffeine.
Let's see. Okay, hold on. Allison. JP, we got one thing to look at. Yeah.
What's that?
It's from Sinclair. So we'll just see what something we're about to send. I'll have to ask you in the break to see if you can like shut it off and reword something. But anywho, so you were just a few months, years old, whatever it was.
Few months
that
old, yeah.
day.
Few
That
months ago
day,
old, yeah.
you learned that caffeine was in chocolate.
I think it was Allison that told me that actually.
JP.
Because she got hot cocoa for me from Starbucks, and I was like, this is not caffeine. She was like, no, it still is.
Yeah, it's caffeine.
Did not know that.
Yep,
Interesting.
Caffeine.
The more you know.
It's true. All right. So cheers to a happy Tuesday. JP, would you like to tell the good people where we were yesterday?
We were at the investiture ceremony of the OG ruffian, Phil Williams, who finally, he technically got sworn in a couple months ago, but yesterday was the official ceremony for his swearing in. So
yes.
It was a fun trip. Abs and I went up to Huntsville together. It was a great time.
It was incredible to see all the people. You were in a courtroom. If you haven't been in a federal court before, and I hope most of you have not.
Yeah.
Okay. Paneled walls, beautiful old but new.
Yeah.
Seats, wooden benches, actually a gorgeous jury box, very stately dais where the judges or judge sits depending on the situation, and a courthouse that, as he was making, or Brian Taylor was making in his introductory remarks, or was that
it was
actually Phil?
It was the judge who was
it was a judge.
Yes.
He was awesome. Mm-hmm. And he also recently was sworn in as a judge, a Northern District judge. Talked about the fact that if you have to say that this is a courthouse in the building, in the design first, and then the building of this courthouse, you've lost the plot.
Yep. If you've got to put a title that says U.S. Federal Courthouse.
U.S. Federal Court. You drive up and you're like, yep. Shazam.
Yeah, I put a picture up on the screen for y'all to look at how beautiful this courthouse
Shazam. Is. This is what's missing from American architecture and architectural generally. But since the rise of Marxism and some would argue some of the progressive art, Cubism, etc., we throw up churches that look like they could be sheds in your backyard and call it beauty, when instead we were made for beauty and to appreciate beauty because God is beautiful and his world is beautiful. And we used to design things that reflected that we knew God, and we wanted to give praise to him even through the things we designed and built. And this courthouse reflects that.
It was at this spot. I had to stop and take a picture of the seal on the
ridiculous
on the floor. It was so good.
Ridiculous.
It was beautiful. So yeah, that's where we were yesterday. That's why we had no show, but we're back today.
We're back, and we're back with the usual. Number one, the word of the day. Number two, we'll perhaps, because we may or may not have enough time, take a tour around Twix and yammer. Little quick clips. I've got a terrible, I guess, an alarming story from Yellowhammer. Then, you guys, we have our friend and owner of the Trussville Tribune, Scott Buttram. Scott. So he's coming on, and we're doing a bit of post-election, but then there's some other things that broke last night or this morning I wanted to ask him about. And since he knows everything, I'm going to ask him. And JP is too, right, JP?
Yes.
He's just jumping in. And then in the second hour today, we have some stats on an issue that's really alarming. And we're going to have a conversation about that. And you don't know, JP, today is Tuesday. I don't know that we can pull an allegedly out for the last 5 minutes.
Yeah.
But I kind of feel like we need to.
How did I forget about allegedly?
JP, it's Tuesday where we spill the tea.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, we can do allegedly.
So we'll collab.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll collab in the next break.
Let's do it.
So,
by the way, we got some comments first if we want to get to those.
Coffee, tea.
Words of the day, yeah.
Okay, let's do it.
John from Minor says he drinks water all day. Says no caffeine for me. I'm too old for it.
Oh, John, you're so responsible. Are you sure? Okay. I drink a lot of water, but I mean...
Caffeine's the best drug.
God deals with us in our frailties.
Mm-hmm.
What else you got?
Bully Bell says H2O. She also says water.
Wow, y'all are healthy.
I
am
know,
ashamed.
right?
This is water
No.
with some flavoring.
And then John also says, talking about the federal courthouse, says the new Obama library looks like a stone robot that broke down and got abandoned. Makes sense to me, though.
It totally does. It looks, John, it looks like a massive just rock.
Mm-hmm. You know what it looks like? It looks like Dr. Doofenshmirtz's building.
Yes, it does. I don't know who that is.
Doofenshmirtz Evil Incorporated.
Here. Oh, from
Phineas and Ferb.
Yes, I do know what that logo. Pull it up, man.
I'm gonna pull up the picture.
That's it, because I told you last week, I thought it looked like those little, I don't even know what they're called, from Easter Island.
Yeah, the Stoneheads.
The Stoneheads. It looks like I bet they went and said, that's our inspo. And then we're going to put an obscure quote. I'm just kidding. It's not. Barack Obama said it in letters that people can barely, they have to sit there and figure out that, oh, that's a quote.
Yeah, I couldn't even read it. I had to go to their website.
That's what that says.
I had to go to their website and read what the quote was.
At least there's a basketball court inside the Obama library. By the way, I thought people thought it was kind of funny that they all needed an ID to get in.
That's funny.
So,
by the way, this is Doofenshmirtz Evil Incorporated.
That's it.
That's what the Obama library looks like.
You know what? Easter Island, I'm sorry. I gave you too much credit. Mm-hmm. It's Doofenshmirtz. Yeah, you're right.
Doofenshmirtz Evil Incorporated. Yeah, we're going to put that one up first, and then everybody gets that image in their head, and then this.
Ugh. Doofenshmirtz. Would you permanently just put across Doofenshmirtz?
Obama Evil Incorporated.
Did you like my jazz hands at the end when you said that?
I was a big Phineas and Ferb kid.
Oh, my kids loved Phineas and Ferb.
That's great.
Oh, I had to pretend sometimes that it was just going off the air because I couldn't. Phineas! Couldn't take it.
I'm telling Mom.
That was my entire children's existence. I'm telling Mom. I'm like, don't make me come up there. My phrase in the home was, work it out, or I'll work it out.
I'll work it out for you.
So they worked it out. And I didn't have a whole lot to work out. My rule was, if it's broken, bleeding, or you're vomiting, then come find me. And sometimes even then they wouldn't do that.
Yeah.
I loved the sound of Phineas and Ferb. All right, JP.
Mm-hmm.
That's a great little catch this morning. Anybody else have any thoughts on how they start their morning?
Well, not how they start the morning, but Bully Bell says, I wish I were the book reader that you are, AB. I'm on chapter 5 of George Washington's Secret 6.
I don't even have the book yet.
Me neither.
Allison's almost done.
Yeah. She was telling me that's been her beach book read.
All right, Bully Bell, we're ordering the book. Also, Bully Bell, do you remember, because we said George Washington's Secret 6, and then we rattled off 2 other books. I don't know if you brought them up, but there were 2 other books we said we wanted to read. One of them was short. Do you guys remember? Because I'm going to create a calendar for our first book club, which is going to be in July, and that is George Washington's Secret 6. That's the book for July, especially because it's July 4th and our 250th anniversary. But then there were 2 more after that, and like a ding dong, did I write it down? No.
Well, I think the first one was Defenders of the West, wasn't it?
Was it?
I think it was.
Wasn't it?
I think that one was, and then...
All right, hold on. I got it marked, JP. I got it marked. Look, book club.
Oh, do you?
All right. So if you say Defenders of the West, y'all can listen to it, skim it. I don't care. Maybe we can do a podcast on that one, because it's just blood and guts plus a bunch of heroism throughout the whole book. That's the whole situation. Oh, also that little tiny problem about Islam.
Yeah.
All right. What was the third book?
I can't remember. I just remember it was Defenders of the West, Secret 6, and then...
Brad, what did I say? Do you remember? Okay, well, I'm going to put down book club, and we'll say July. I still say July is our George book. Okay.
I'm so excited to read that one.
Defenders of the West after that. I'm on, I don't know. And then if somebody could just remember what we said, because it was a great book. I don't remember because I don't remember. All right. Are you ready for the word of the day? JP, you got to dance.
3, 2, 1.
Okay. This word starts with a Q. It means to feel afraid and often to show your fear in a way that can clearly be seen.
Starts with a Q?
Starts with a Q.
Quintessential.
No. I'm going to give you a sentence. Although giving a 5-minute speech was a requirement for passing the class, a few students blank at the thought of public speaking, seeming to shrink behind their desks. I have a cousin who in college had to give a speech, and he was this word so badly, this word ED, so badly that he hid under the desk, under the teacher's desk to give the speech.
No
I'm not
way.
joking. And this cousin is a tremendous salesperson.
God.
So I find this to be hysterical that this is the origins of his extraordinary sales career.
I throw in the towel. I don't know the Q.
Quailed.
Quailed.
Not quaked. Quailed.
John said quacked.
Close. Or you could, quail. What's another Q word that could be? Because I thought you were going to pick another one, but you didn't.
I got one. I can't read it.
Quaked.
You John said another, but I can't read that one.
John. What? Okay.
Oh, Brad from Crimestone says, okay, well, I just read the second half of the test. He said he was kidding. He said, AB, you surely said Robinson's Crusoe.
I didn't.
Then he said, okay, not really, but it would be really convenient if you did, because that's what the book club I'm already in is reading now.
All right. We can put, I don't care. Let's put Robinson Crusoe. I've got that book.
God, there's another. You know what? After the show, we're going to go back and rewatch.
Okay.
Friday. So.
Sure.
And see what was it.
I mean, I can't believe it. If I want something to really, it was rattled off. So in my brain, I remembered, because you're right, it's Defenders of the West, and it was Georgie's book. But then that third one that we just slid in there for November or September, just.
We'll go back. We'll watch
it's fine. Okay, JP.
Gen Z word of the day.
Yes, sir.
We can do this one because Allison's not here, because she was going to get it because she says it all the time. And I don't think we've done this one yet. I could be wrong. Maybe we have. This is a popular affirmation that people use as a quick, casual way to agree to a plan, acknowledge a suggestion, or express enthusiastic bet.
That is Allison Sinclair's favorite Gen Z word. She says bet.
So for any of y'all out there, if any of your kids are saying bet, then it means okay, sure, or just short for you bet.
Which you bet is such a Yankee word. My cousins used to say
you betcha.
You bet. You bet.
You betcha.
You betcha. Bet. I like bet much better.
Yeah.
I could kind of work that into my vocabulary.
It's easy. Allison texts it all the time.
She does.
I mean, she literally texts like a 21-year-old. That's like what her Spotify age was. So I guess it fits. So.
Oh, that's funny. All right. I like it.
Would you like to yammer?
Yes, sir.
I've got a story we can do first if you don't have one pulled up.
Why don't you? I've got mine, but I'm answering Allison. Can you do yours first?
Yes. So we're going to do yammer. And we're going to start with a story that I can't believe we haven't talked about yet. I've been seeing it go starting to trend, but we haven't talked about it on the show. Tuberville smacks back at, quote, woke atheist group targeting Auburn baseball, quote, freedom of religion, not freedom from religion. Have you seen this story about the group that's targeting Auburn's Jesus One t-shirts that they warm up in, hippie pee in?
Well, I heard about it, but how about you tell our friends about it?
Let's see. The senator is responding to the Freedom from Religion Foundation's recent statements against the Auburn University baseball team. The organization is asking the college to stop allowing coach-led prayers on campus and to get rid of baseball uniforms that have Latin crosses on the backs and say, and Jesus One written on the front. It says, quote, we again urge Auburn University to take action to ensure that its coaching staff and sports programs cease violating students' First Amendment's rights.
I'm sorry. What are the students' First Amendment rights that are being violated?
Yeah, they're exercising their First Amendment rights.
And you just don't like it. Also, freedom from, if there is no God, why do you care what the kids wear? Why are you so bothered by what they wear? Because what they wear is convicting you because you know in your heart what's true. But if there is no God, why the heck do you care so much? Find somebody else to pick on, please. Leave us alone. Get out.
The Freedom from Religion Foundation claims a family member brought the issue to their attention. Quote, they observed that non-Christian students would likely feel out of place and unable to refuse the coach's expectations for players to kneel and pray or wear team gear with the cross and Jesus written on it. So are they saying that a family member of somebody on the team or a family member of somebody, because the quote says that they would likely feel out of place, not like somebody complained and said that their kid who doesn't believe in Jesus feels out of place. You know what I mean? So I don't know if they're saying it's a family member of somebody on the team or what, but regardless, okay, I went to a Christian school. I know you went to a Christian school. We've kneeled and prayed before every game, every practice, before and after every practice. Obviously, we would be trying to minister and preach and help a teammate of ours that didn't believe in Jesus. But if a player just kind of didn't do, I don't know. I don't think they're making it such an obnoxious sort of like if somebody doesn't believe in Jesus and just kind of like didn't kneel or pray with us, that they'd be like ostracized from the team. Like we would minister to them, we'd preach to them. So I think this is just they're just trying to, it's anti-Christian, because if they're trying to say, whoa, somebody could feel out of place, it's like, okay, well, they're not going to get like slaughtered. They're not going to get executed on the field, that we would just preach to them and help them along their journey. It's not like it's some sort of massive, they get ostracized and pushed out. You're kicked off the team. You know what I mean? So this is just anti-Christian to a T. They're just trying to shut Christian prayers up. And let me ask you, where's the anti-Muslim prayers? If there was a team, if Auburn was having Muslim prayers and reading the Quran before the games, would they be as hostile against that? I'm not so sure they would be.
JP, that was exactly where my brain was going. Was if the shoe were on the other foot, what would happen? Nothing.
Mm-hmm.
Also, as usual with this group, the specifics are hazy.
Whoa, sorry.
They're vague. So let's find somebody else to pick on. But Auburn University is not the right place for you. And kids are free not to wear those things, unlike the MLB.
Yeah.
Also, quickly.
Hey, we don't have to go to break yet. I'm going to push it
like
2 minutes so you have time to do your story.
Well, it's fine. It's another Yellowhammer story, but the headline says, Feds say Pritchard's police force was a criminal enterprise. Mobile County Sheriff's Office takes over. Did you see this story?
Mm-mm.
I'll just take the top. It's from Grayson. Pritchard no longer has full control over its own police department. The Mobile County Sheriff's Office is handling day-to-day law enforcement. And the reason why is that prosecutors are re-examining criminal cases, including murders, because the conduct of one Pritchard police officer may have contaminated far more than his own badge. And that officer, Emmanuel Naaman Dotch, was ordered held in federal custody after an FBI agent testified that Dotch admitted to years of street level extortion, bribes, evidence tampering, and a staged drug arrest. Those allegations are ugly enough on their own. The question is, how many cases and how many officers do they pull down with him? This is a huge, huge deal.
Yeah.
I was not surprised because Pritchard is one of those areas of the state, Mobile County, some of the areas down there. I'm not surprised. Let me just put it that way. So that's horrific when the people who are entrusted to uphold the law, enforce the law, take the law into their own hands and do what they want and are now criminals.
And that's the scary thing. If the police gets compromised, that's just how anarchy happened. And whenever I hear stories like that, I think back to like what happened in Portland, where when ICE raided Portland and the local police just bucked the federal law enforcement, like as if you're allowed to do that. But whenever the local police doesn't stop Antifa from destroying the city and wreaking havoc, then like who's gonna protect the innocent civilians, you know? So it's just another example of this one too, of, you know, you think in your brain, well, the police protects us. If police gets compromised, that's like one of the scariest things we can have in our society.
That's exactly right. It's terrifying. So watch this case closely. Actually, both of these cases, Freedom from Religion and the Pritchard Police Department, watch it. This is interesting, and I'm sure there's plenty more to unfold about both stories. So, up next, we have the montage. And from what JP tells me, it's a good one. So don't go anywhere. You found the right side, and we'll be right back. Beth Shaver with Allison Sinclair, and we are joined by a dear friend of ours. Her name is Heather Davis, and not only has she become a counselor, not only has she written a Bible study, but she's one of the wisest women I know, and she can tell you about herself. We have so many questions for her. We're not going to get to all of them, but the main point today is, how do we deal with a generation of kids that no matter what we do, we seem to be doing it wrong? How do we have hard conversations? How do we broach uncomfortable subjects and not lose our mind doing it? How do we do that? So, welcome.
Hi, thank y'all for having me.
We're so glad you're here.
I'm a little overwhelmed by the honor and the love, so thank you.
Wow, I'm overwhelmed by the fun. Like, I've heard about Heather for years, and she walked in and I was like, oh, she's one of us.
Yeah.
This is going to be awesome.
Yes.
I think y'all are in for a treat, because I'm pretty sure it will all be said, like not holding back. So thank you for being here.
Absolutely, my pleasure.
So first, real quick, what's your background, and did you ever see yourself doing what you're doing today?
No and yes. My background is, I graduated from the University of Alabama at Birmingham in '93. Thought that I was going to be the next physical therapist, but apparently statistics are very important in that role. And so I never got an opportunity. Had worked at ASMI with Lemack, Andrews, and Rogers, you know, the gods of orthopedics, and realized that the gods of orthopedics bow down to the God of the universe, because he had a plan. He brought me here under the guise of my personal wants and wish list, and he saved me, transformed me, and called me into ministry before I was 25 years old. So it was a, you know, what I like to call a butt kicking in reality and practical theology. So 25 to almost 40-ish, I was on different church staffs here in Birmingham, always around connection, community, small groups. I had this just innate, from the time I was a little girl, ability to hear through the lens of the gospel and love people And so was counseling before I was ever really into that. Had a horrific marriage, started doing a lot of therapy just to kind of get through what life throws at you. Addictions that, back in the late 1990s, early 2000s, we didn't say the word porn out loud. We didn't say affairs out loud. We didn't say sexual addiction out loud. These type of things were what I was dealing with. And on church staff, that's pretty taboo. So I had been on a staff where they were like, you need to step back and get your house in order. And that really kind of undid me. And the long and short of it is I did a deconstruction of my theology to find out, well, if it's my husband who's sinning and he's the head of the home, how do I get my house in order? And so it really just kind of took the legalism that I had been brought up with. My parents are very good people, very moral. And then I, became Baptist in Birmingham, Alabama. And so I just traded one for the other. And so he really just started to show me what a practical theology was and how do you live out what you honestly believe. So long and short of it, I ended up doing master's program and getting counseling certifications. And now I'm a gospel coach. So my last accreditation is board certified master mental health coach. And I specialize in life recovery, addictions, and neuroscience. I work through the lens of NARM, which is a neuroaffectual relationship model, which basically means the psycho, biological, neurological way that our bodies and brains process. And so it's really kind of cool because that just flows right into theology. Forever, God's been telling us if we renew our mind, we can be transformed. And that's exactly what I get to do with people. So I love it. I know that's pretty heady, but
no, I'm so curious because a lot of people will say psychology, psychiatry is antithetical to the gospel, to theology, to God. But it sounds like you fuse the two. Like God created us, God gave us these mental capacities, He wired us. How do you put science and God together?
Hello and welcome back. My word. JP. Do you think you would ever have the ability as a cop? Like if you were a cop and you realized another cop was dirty, I know you'd of course stand up to him.
Yeah.
Or her. But is that a bigger problem than we realize?
I think probably. I think it's worse off in certain places than others, but overall, I think we'd be shocked to find out how many total dirty cops there are out there.
And overworked, by the way.
Yeah.
And plenty who just don't care. But I respect the police. I'm just...
Yeah, and
anyway.
the good ones definitely outnumber the bad ones. But the story we just mentioned from Yellowhammer, I think we'd be scared to find out how many of those are actually going on. It's unfortunate, but it's just reality.
Well, I don't know. It just makes me think. Anywho, all right. I was ruminating, as that coffee settles in and you start thinking, like really thinking. But you know what time it is right now? It's time for the news.
Time for news.
I would not support the Republican Party. There's no chance I would support the Republican Party. I'm not going to support the Democratic Party. I don't know what I'm going to do. But at this point, how could I or any American voter support a political party that's not loyal to the United States?
Unfortunately, in today's moral decay of society, as we witnessed, people believe that if they have their own voice, they scream loud enough, they're right. And they believe perception is their own reality. It may not be truth, but in their mind, it is their own reality.
That the second ransom note in the investigation indicated that the 84-year-old died after she was abducted.
The note said Nancy was, quote, buried with nature. The sender or senders of the first 2 ransom notes have not been publicly identified, and there have been no reported arrests in connection to them.
2 more men have been arrested by the FBI, this time in Missouri and Washington State, threatening to murder people at President Trump's UFC event right here at the White House on June 14th. That also coincided with Flag Day, the Army's birthday, and President Trump's birthday.
Oh, she is doing good today, honey. Algie, we're sweethearts. Everybody's proud of you. You are single-handedly doing more to fight fascism than any American has. Yes. Let's go, Algie. Yeah, Algie. Woo, Algie!
JP. JP. What is wrong with them? I mean, it's fine if you're 5 to wear a t-shirt that's got you just sliced it up around the edges and put little beads on the end. It's about the only craft I could ever do for my children. My children are very crafty. I'm not. I was only allowed to read and other things. But for the love of all that's good and holy, are they not self-aware enough to realize that if you're wearing a shirt from K5 and you have green hair and you think that pouring algae on purpose into the reflecting pool is going to fight fascism, who's going to tell them? 0 people are going to listen.
Yeah, for those who are confused, this was at the Lincoln Memorial reflecting pool, and there was pro-algae protests because of the algae that is in the pool, and I guess Trump was going to clean up the algae from the pool, and they just they were protest. I'm seeing here somebody in a frog inflatable suit that says Team Algae, and they had to have National Guard troops protect the pool from people vandalizing the Lincoln Memorial reflecting pool or reflection pool. That's
I mean, and also JP, the very idea that they were fighting fascism by pouring algae into the reflecting pool that was just cleaned. If Trump were a fascist, he wouldn't even have allowed them to get close to the pool to fight fascism. Because if you're a fascist, everything's under lock and key.
Stop making too much sense, Amy Beth.
I'm sorry. I know we wanted to start with Tucker, but that lady in the sliced up T-shirt that looked like something I made for my kids when they were in kindergarten or first grade. Please, if you want people to take you seriously, at least dress decently, okay? And you're making a mess like children. Everything you do reflects a child instead of adulthood. So that's all. I can't believe you found that clip. Fight fascism! Go Algie!
Go Algie. You've done more to fight fascism than any American ever has.
Also, on this same note, never mind, I'm not going to bring it up. I'm going to write it down. I'm going to save it for later.
Okay.
I saw another. Could we maybe, when we see it, and it usually is every day, maybe point out some of the unbelievable things people say? For example, on Father's Day, or fighting algae or fighting fascism by dumping algae and creating more drama than is necessary. Because I got a statement for you, and I need you to pick this one apart. It's insane. Should we have a segment called Insane Things Insane People Say?
Insane Things Insane People Say. That's a great name for
Can
it.
we do that?
Well, we had a button.
I'm so bothered.
We had a sound effect with Phil, and it was called Adventures in Woke World.
Adventures in Woke World.
This is my dream. Okay. That wasn't planned, but maybe we can do that later because I really need you to take something apart. Please. Can we please do that?
Yeah. Let's do that.
Okay, I'm writing down.
Okay. Write it down.
Okay. So we started in reverse, but it's funny. We'll circle back and we'll end up there with Adventures in Woke World later on today. So stay tuned for that because I need all y'all to wrap your brain around this one. Adventures in Woke World. You have just made my whole week, JP. All right. First and foremost, Tucker.
Do you want to play here? I can pull up the full clip if you want.
Pull up the clip because I'm not sure if our friends and neighbors who are out there living their lives, just doing their best. And here we have Tucker devolving. We saw this coming, but now Tucker needs to make this announcement in a shock, said no one ever. But play the clip and let's discuss.
Not support the Republican Party. There's no chance I would support the Republican Party. I'm not going to support the Democratic Party. I don't know what I'm going to do. But at this point, how could I or any American voter support a political party that's not loyal to the United States, that puts the interests of a foreign country above those of its own citizens? That's it's not possible to vote for people like that. And I'm not going to. And I think I voted Republican my entire life. I worked at Fox News, CNN, MSNBC. I've been a consistent defender for 35 years of the Republican Party. I mean, very consistent defender. But there's no defending this because it's immoral. And it's exactly the opposite of what a political party in a democracy is charged with doing, which is representing its own voters, its own citizens, its own nation. And they're not doing that. So, no, I'm out. And if I'm out, then I think a lot of other people are out.
Well, JP, what do you think?
I want you to go first. I want to hear your thoughts on it because I've got conflicting views on it.
So, when we know that someone from, is it Abu Dhabi or Qatar is funding him. And one of the things on this show that we highlight, and we did during the election, is who paid for the push cards, who supported campaigns, means we should pay attention because that's who our elected officials will pay attention to. And so that transfers, that's parallel to what's going on with Tucker, because who's supporting him is eventually who he will support. For example, when he went to Russia and thought that Russia was beautiful and Putin was okay, it's fine to have a conversation. We should have a conversation. We enjoy free speech. But Tucker talked about how glorious it was. It's so funny. It's the same thing that Candace is doing. That's called the traveler's fallacy. They only take you to where they want you to see and what they want you to know. So not only is he being bankrolled by someone whose values are antithetical to the United States and values that I thought Tucker was for, now he's doing things like going to Russia and saying, look, isn't this grand and beautiful? My parents have been to Russia a couple of times. We all know that outside the beauty of St. Petersburg and certain castles in certain areas, it's a dump. I've had friends who've gone on mission trips there before. Their rooms were bugged. It's not at all. Tucker is only seeing the luxurious parts. Tucker is only going to talk about the luxurious sections of Qatar. That's all. They're not going to let him see anything else. And then when he stopped talking about the way that Islam and historically Islam has abused women, and he left that part out, and when he started ignoring what was going on in Nigeria, that genocide, nothing to see here, nothing to see here. Meanwhile, we can see it with our own eyes. We've gotten reports from National Religious Broadcasters President Troy Miller. We can read the reports. We follow people online who've been there, like Larry Taunton, and he has nothing to say. And then he began platforming people, and we can disagree on this. This is fine. But for example, Howard Zinn is the revisionist history guy on the left. There are revisionist history people on the right that Tucker's platforming. And you can look at history to know that they're revisionist historians. So the fall has been on its way to happening. It doesn't mean that Tucker can't still say good and important things. It doesn't mean that he hasn't done good and important things. But in the end, follow the money, because that's the tail that wags the dog. I hope he finds his way back. It's the horseshoe theory. He ended up, you end up where you started. It seems that that's what's happening here. I think Tucker has been a very important voice on the right. But I am concerned. People are digging into what's been going on with him, but he's gone the way of Candace and others, and I am concerned.
Yeah, I think I agree with everything you're saying. And I do think that Tucker has gone too far in terms of he takes a lot of what I agree with and then maybe takes it a step further, or maybe takes it a step sideways, where I think maybe he started with the right idea, but where he takes it and how he applies it, I wouldn't agree with. It's a little too utopian or a little too naive, I think, a lot of times. Here's my thing, though, and I guess I'll play the other half of the coin of this discussion. I do think at some point, so if the Republican Party is not deporting aliens at the level, illegal aliens at the level that they really need to be, I can't remember the last stats. I think by December of last year, there was like only 300,000 deportations, when we're talking like tens of millions. I think it was 10 million that came in under Biden alone. So there's a lot more than that needs to be taking place. So if they're not deporting the illegal aliens that they need to be, if they started another war in the Middle East, in a war with Iran, which I believe was largely on behalf of Israel, which in that video when Tucker's talking about that the Republican Party is beholden to the interests of a foreign nation above America, he's talking about Israel. So if the Republican Party was in support of that, if the Republican Party continues to support people, and Trump, the leader of the Republican Party, continues to support people like Lindsey Graham and support just neocons in general, and are hostile to Marjorie Taylor Greene, to Thomas Massey, who are just on a more, I guess you could call it America First or libertarian-like part of the Republican Party, which I would take Thomas Massey and Marjorie Taylor Greene over Lindsey Graham and the other people that Trump is supporting. So if all of that is going on, and most of the Republican voters, or not most, but a lot of the Republican voters that came over to our side to get Trump elected don't agree with that, I guess I think it's a good question to ask: at what point do we make the Republicans feel the consequences of, we're not going to support that? Here's what I mean by that, though, because whenever people have this conversation, they think that means that you're joining the Democrats. And that's not at all what I'm saying. That's not at all what I think Tucker is saying. We live in a two-party system, and whether you like it or not, that's just how it is. We live in a two-party system. Like a Republican or a Democrat's going to win. That's it. If you want to reform your own side and make it better, then the Republicans have to feel consequences when they do stuff like this, and they have to be forced to, like, they have to feel the pain of it. Like, if there's no consequences to Trump supporting Lindsey Graham, if there's no consequences to the Republicans supporting a war in Iran and not deporting illegal aliens, and they're just going to keep doing that. And so in my head, I think the only way to make them feel that pain is, hey, maybe the Republicans don't win the midterms and they get slowed down a little bit, And then 2028, they realized, crap, okay, well, we got to change some things. And we get a Republican president that is supportive of everything that the Republican voters are for. Does that make sense? And I don't want to use the term more radical, because whenever you say that, the Democrats say they want a Nazi leader. Like, that's not all what we want. We just want somebody that is not the Republican of old, which Trump was that guy. Think about it. In 2016, that's who Trump was. Trump was the guy that didn't need the money of the PACs. He didn't need all of the things that was funding the Republicans of old. He was not a neocon. He's unfortunately kind of become that guy now, whether you like it or not. So in my head, I think we're not going to vote for the Democrats, but in my opinion, the only way to make the Republican Party stronger and to evolve and to get past the point of inaction that kind of we're stuck in the lull of now. And I'm not even saying we're at that point yet. My question is, where is that line? And it appears that that line for Tucker has been crossed, but I do think it's a good conversation to have, because we've talked about on the show our frustration with inaction from Republicans. So I think it's a good conversation of how do we change that and how do we get rid of that? How do we make our party better? Because I'm always going to be a Republican Party voter, even though I could call myself a Christian and a conservative over Republican. But in the two-party system, I'm on the side of the Republican. So I want my side to win. But when my side is just not getting it and continuing to do the same old, then what do we have to do to make them evolve? Does that make sense?
It makes sense. And I think actually, as you're talking, it's a layered conversation, because the line was crossed for Tucker as it has been crossed for many people. And that is a conversation worth having, as is, who are we listening to?
Yeah.
Because it seems that many voices that started off well, I'm thinking of Megyn Kelly, I'm thinking of Tucker, and I'm also thinking of Ben Shapiro, because he's squeaky in his own way. And so you've got the Republican voter issues and things that we are collectively for, but you also have the co-opting of voices on the right because the money was delicious and irresistible. And so where once people were rock solid, they are getting wobbly. Now, Tucker can be that he is naive and a new believer, but the things that he's saying, the things that he's doing, the platforming he's allowed are very suspicious. And to me, it ties in naturally with the way he's been going. But it is a very good conversation. And then overall, the whole thing, it's that what you said, JP, we are conservative Republicans. We are Republicans, big little R, but we are conservatives first because we know what the Word of God says, and we don't have the right to vote apart from that. And for those of you who say, oh, but you're just pro-life voters, and follow me, stick with me for a second. If you're just pro-life voters, there's many more things than that. And that's why I vote Democrat. Okay, but you first have to be alive to even vote. So if you don't have life, what do you have? So it's an understanding of the Bible and the Word and our responsibility as believers, isn't it? And so then what we have to come to is something you said, and I don't even know if you realize you said it. We're conservative Republicans because we are Christians. Public officials will come and go. Party leaders will come and go. We are the engine that drives our party forward. What our pastor taught us on Sunday, in part, is that then we have to be the people that, regardless of our platformed hero at the time, regardless of our president at the time, we are the same and we are involved. So we move it in the right direction, no matter what's happening out there. Is that also fair?
Absolutely.
Just brought out some really good points, JP.
No, you did.
No, you did.
You did it first.
No, you did. You did. All right, when we come back, our friend Scott Buttram, we're talking about all the things you don't want to miss it. We'll be right back.
People want to separate them.
Right. So for me, as a Baptist even, it was very difficult for me to understand the difference between spirit, soul, and my flesh. Okay. And so it took me a long time to get the understanding that, my flesh is the part that has its own proclivities. It has its own predisposition towards typical types of sin. That's my flesh. That's the part of me that makes me human. Then there's the spirit, which is, I was made in the image of God. I'm an image bearer. We're all image bearers, and it's unique in each one of us. That's why we're all so valuable to the kingdom. And then there's this soul. This is the part was so elusive for me. It was just kind of like a mirage. Like, how do I grasp it? And the best way I've figured out how to hold on to it is it's a 3-part. It's your mind, your will, and your emotions. And so your mind definitely includes your brain, but it's more than just your brain. You've got your subconscious and your conscious. So the things that I say are biblical truths. The things I believe about myself, that mental tape, that's the subconscious. That's your mind. That's the part that's got to be transformed. Then you've got your will, which is, your disciplines and the things that each of us have or do not have. I kind of lack will when it comes to bread, Diet Coke, French fries, ice cream. I mean, there's a list, but my will is very low on those. And then there's your emotions. Well, your emotional state is definitely important, but I was not taught that way. I was brought up in a military, medical, Italian family. Emotions were not things we talked about. You were sent from the table till you could get it in order and come back, dry your face up. So the emotions, that's part of it. Well, what we've got right now is a generation that's led by their emotions. Then you've got, our generation, Gen X, which is totally led by will.
Yes.
Yeah.
We will do what we're going to do because we know. And so those two generations are really clashing. And then you've got the generation that's the mind, and these are facts, and that would be your baby boomers. And so that's where these generations are really struggling, is the way we see soul is so different that we're having trouble determining how do we even communicate about it, and even more so, how do we love these kids and give them the safety and security that they need, because we're the adults and we've been there. And we know what it was like to be raised by people who didn't value emotion and they didn't value will. They only valued trust or truth and achievement. And so we're in that precipice where they all meet, and it's kind of like the rubber meets the road, and we're dealing with it because these kids are not believing what we believe.
Not at all. And is that why? That's just so interesting, that clash of civilization, really. But is that why you mentioned a minute ago, the kids today seem to be so led by their emotion? It doesn't matter what logic you present. It doesn't matter. I mean, even going so far, and you and I have talked about this, where some people will say, well, what is truth? As if it's this nuanced thing that we can create rather than a concrete, no, truth is. Right. We rotate around the truth.
My truth,
and
your truth.
Yeah. Can you talk to us about that? I mean, why?
We talk about the postmodern world, like that's where we're at postmodern. And so relativism is incredibly real. I just had a conversation with my oldest child, who's 26 and in law school. And she asked me specifically, are you okay with the unkind treatment to people who are not citizens of our country? And I was like, help me understand what unkind is. And she goes, Mama, you've got your therapy hat on. And I was like, well, I need to understand your terms, because that's where we're at. Her version of unkind is an experiential unkind. For me, clear is kind. Unclear is unkind. Kindness means I would extend something to you that you have not earned. It's a gift. Kindness is a gift. And she was like, well, I don't think kindness is that way. It's an attribute. And I was like, okay, that's where we're at. We have to define terms with this generation, because theirs is an experiential, emotional thing. Kindness is a character trait. You can't give what you don't have. And so for her, she really struggles, and she's typical. She's a millennial. She is very typical of, if you're not kind and you don't do it the right way, you're wrong. I'm like, where's the grace in that? But they don't have grace because they don't understand it.
Is this across the board? Like, I don't know if there's a little chat group of all the NARM therapists out there. But I'm
Yes.
curious if it's more pervasive in the South, just the Southern
no.
culture. No, it's everywhere.
It's everywhere. NARM, the model that I use, is worldwide, and it's kind of ironic. But when we do our Zooms, when you do your trainings, you're on Zooms. There'll be people from all over the world, and they'll say, Heather, and then it'll say he, she, it, whatever your pronouns are, and we'll have people from, one was from China, one was from Scotland, my favorite accent. And she was saying, what is this she?
Welcome back to the Right Side. I am Amy Beth Shaver with JP. We are having a Tuesday after attending Phil's investiture ceremony, which was glorious, going through the montage today. And now we shall take a break for our friend and the owner of Trustville Tribune, all around good guy, Scott Buttram. Hey, Scott.
You're just saying that because it's true.
It is true. You can't help it. You can't help it if you're just an all-around good guy.
Well, I'm obviously not good enough, because guess who did not get invited to the investiture ceremony?
Listen, I don't even know how that happened. Probably because he let us. Well, we did buy a show, but I'm just telling you, I sat there and I was like, act right, Amy Beth. Don't embarrass JP. Don't embarrass the family. Just sit still.
And there was not an empty seat there. It was packed.
No, but
Well,
I don't know.
blamed it on my wife. I said, you've not been checking the mail, clearly, because I'm sure the invitation was in the mail. She did say that she thought she saw an email that said I was invited to watch online or talk to somebody that actually went.
Well, here we are. Okay. But I truly don't know how I was there. Even tried to scooch over into the corner during the reception and just look at people. But what's more important is that we are getting to talk to you today, U.S. Secretary of Common Sense. By the way, would you please come up with something fun, like your title for me? Could you do that?
Well, listen, the truth is, I think I changed my title on maybe a monthly basis.
Really?
When I was on Twitter. Yeah, I mean, I was just having fun with it. And I put that one up, and I got such a response from it. I thought, maybe I should just leave that alone. I may have stumbled into the right decision here.
That was 100% right. And I love it so much because you do a double take and you're like, that is spot on.
I've had several people say that should probably really be a cabinet position.
It should be.
It conflicts with the government, so I don't know.
I don't think we would want to admit that we don't have much. And you could say, but that's why I'm here, ladies and gentlemen.
That's it.
That's it.
That's my calling.
Well, it's a great calling, and we're glad you're with us today. We didn't get a chance last week, but in retrospect, I'm glad that it's this week because the dust has settled even more.
Yeah.
And so I wondered, first off, what your thoughts were post-election. Where do we go? What did you think about the whole primary runoff situation? Number one. And number two, where do we go from here?
Well, let's start with this. I follow both you and Allison and JP on social media. And I think the most appropriate thing I can say to start the conversation is amen. I'm right in line with y'all's feelings and what you've seen and what you think, because I think I'd like to believe most people with common sense are looking at it that way. I'm glad, first and foremost, to put the primaries behind us. It reached the point of embarrassing, right near the end. I was just embarrassed for candidates. And I can't remember who wrote it, but somebody said, you don't throw a Hail Mary, unless you think you're about to lose the game. And we saw some of that, right? Yeah. The polling was not as close as we were led to believe, clearly. On the other hand, just under 11% showed up to vote. So I don't know. I don't know really what to think about Alabama at this moment. I'm really embarrassed that less than 11% care who's going to lead our state for the next 4 years. That's disappointing to me. And I don't know, was the polling reflecting people who thought they would vote or people who actually planned to vote? But we looked at a lot of races, y'all, that looked like almost toss-ups going down the stretch, and they weren't. They were 10, 11, 12 points difference when the voting was done.
Doesn't it make you want to stop and ask, and perhaps many people already have, who's doing the polling?
Yeah.
Because, it sounds absurd to say, all right, were you paid off to do that poll because you got it opposite? It was upside down and opposite.
Yeah. It has been my feeling for a long time that whether you're talking about polling or a study or research, or focus group studies, they always seem to turn out exactly the way the people paying for them want them to turn out. And I think there's a correlation there.
Yeah.
If I'm buying a study, I want the study to say what I want it to say. But I think that's a really, really good question, Amy Beth, and probably something we should, and I think probably a lot of us do try to find out, well, who was the source of the polling when we see some of these polls. We saw some in this last election cycle, and some of them came from legitimate polling groups, but they were just so out of kilter with the way the election played out. And then you find out, well, yeah, it's a legitimate polling place, but one campaign did pay for that poll. And I really kind of feel like after the presidential election in 2016, we probably all view polls with a little bit more of a slanted eye. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Absolutely nobody said Trump was going to win. Or maybe there was one poll floating out there that said he could win. But in the end, he didn't have much trouble with the Electoral College at all. There was a lot of polling done on that, but it all showed Hillary Clinton going in a landslide, and she wasn't going to be challenged. And we know that wasn't true.
Right.
But we've seen that in local races. We've seen that in statewide races. And I do think the public in general probably doesn't give polling the weight they did maybe when our parents were coming along.
That's a good point. Yeah, because we'll return to it and go, see, I'm ahead. I feel like we need to record a video to ourselves, the kind that people record for their funerals, and say, listen, don't forget, this was wrong. Don't pay attention to it. Because you're right. When we were coming along, the polls our parents took were pretty right.
Yeah.
But now, not so much. So I think we need to break glass, like JP says, and remind yourselves we're not good at polls anymore.
You're right. And we should remind the candidates of that. So 4 years from now, they're not playing that same game. We should video a lot of the campaigning that was done down the stretch to remind candidates in the future, it's not worth your reputation. It's just not worth it. Just run your clean campaign, tell the voters what you've got to offer. Don't go on these foolish attacks. And listen, I think and I'm talking about Republicans here now, because I don't pay much attention to what the Democrats do, but to Republican candidates, it is not worth your reputation to go out and campaign that way, because this campaign is going to end, win or lose. Keep your reputation intact. Don't make wild, absurd claims about your opponent, who you're probably, whether you win the race or you're out of the race, you're probably going to be working with that person over the next 4 years. So don't embarrass yourself that way. It's not necessary. It's not going to move the needle for you. And your reputation is worth more than that.
Well, I got a thought that's kind of twofold along that of this cycle. I think every politico I've talked to has agreed that this has been the most negative they've seen. I guess two questions. First, do you think that the strategy is going to change? I mean, it's politics. It's always going to be negative, but I think every candidate that went so negative, aggressively, especially with ads, lost, and it backfired on them. So do you think that that's going to change the strategy going forward? And also, do you think that is the direct correlation between the low turnout of people seeing the constant negativity and just wanting nothing to do with it?
Boy, those are two really good questions. But to answer your first question, let's remember that every campaign, especially at the state level, is being run by a strategist, somebody that they've hired that does this for a living and has done it, and hopefully every candidate wants a strategist that has a really good track record and has been very successful. JP, given the fact that every strategist has their own playbook, and some of those are built on conventional rules of campaigning, and some are built on conventional rules of campaigning with caveats and different angles that particular strategist, brings to his rule book. For that reason, I don't think it'll change a lot.
Yeah.
I think as long as those people are still being employed and still running campaigns, they're going to fall back on what they know or what they believe they know. So I'm not sure how much that will change going forward. Maybe if some candidates get smart and realize, well, this didn't work for that guy, so I don't want to do it. Then maybe we'll start seeing some change. Is there a correlation between the low turnout and the negative campaigning? I would lean into saying probably not. And the reason I say that, guys, I just took a beating on X maybe 3 weeks ago, when I posted, and this is just an observation. I'm not attacking anybody. I probably would put myself in this group, even though I don't consider myself a Republican or a Democrat. I am a conservative. But I made the comment that it's been my experience that Alabama voters are lazy. And Republican voters tend to be the laziest of the lazy voters. Now, what am I basing that on? Every time it seems like we have, and it's probably national, but I look more at Alabama, every time we have a Republican in the White House, it just feels like they're going to get clobbered in the midterm because the same people that put them in the White House won't show back up to support legislative seats and races. And in the state of Alabama, I wrote an op-ed almost 20 years ago about low turnout for municipal elections. These are the people who are going to tell you what color you can paint your house and how high you can grow your grass. And less than 20% showed up for that particular municipal election that kind of triggered me to write that op-ed. I've rerun it a couple of times, by the way, because it's never changed. I can just change the date, run it again. Probably the best turnout I've ever seen for municipal elections was around 25%. There's just a lot of voter apathy. And again, this may be more national than Alabama or trustful, but I don't pay attention to other states and other cities. I watched the 9 cities we covered the Tribune, and I watched the state where I live. So I can't say that it's not a national trend, but I could definitely say it's happening in Alabama. And I just think it's apathy more than anything, JP. And I don't really get that, because if you're apathetic, voting is the only way to change that.
I have a quote for both of y'all, because when I saw it, I honestly thought of you both. This is an Abe Lincoln quote. And then after this, Scott, I would love for you to prognosticate on our future. Okay. Here's from Abe Lincoln. Elections belong to the people. This is to exactly what you're saying about apathy and low turnout. Elections belong to the people. It's their decision. If they decide to turn their back on the fire and burn their behinds, then they will just have to sit on their blisters. Like, that's very true.
That's perfect.
Isn't that perfect?
I wish I had said that.
Not good. Old Abe. I'm thinking that if we withheld the season tickets for Auburn and Alabama, both football and basketball, maybe until you voted and then you got them back, that might be the only thing that would help us.
now you're going to meddling.
Yeah.
Get out, Amy Beth. All right. Prognosticate for us. What's on the horizon?
Well, I don't think we'll see a ton of change in anything. And I base that on the fact that we know Montgomery is sold out, has sold out, remains sold out to special interest. Now, which particular special interest they're selling out to on any given day is kind of anybody's guess. That does seem to shift from time to time. For example, I'm an old man, right? So it was 2010 before anybody other than Democrats ran the state of Alabama. I was 50 years old before you didn't have to vote in the Democratic primaries if you wanted to vote for governor. And the big boogeyman then, and I think who really were the boogeyman, the special interest that Montgomery had sold out to was AEA. And that's, I think, I give a lot of credit to that. The reason Republicans were able to take over Montgomery is Alabamians got sick and tired of AEA running the state of Alabama. First of all, they weren't doing a great job running education. Second of all, Paul Hubbard got way out of his lane. It wasn't just education issues that were coming through AEA and directly to the legislators and legislators being told how to vote. Paul Hubbard had started sticking his nose in everything, every issue that came up. AEA was deciding how everybody in Montgomery should be voting on it. So I do think that's shifted. I think BCA is the special interest that really controls Montgomery at this point. We saw the PSC bill. There's no running from that. That was the entire state government. Basically the entire House and basically the entire Senate and the governor's office was pushing it to basically hand control of Alabama power over to Alabama power. And that's what happened. That's the short version of what happened with the PSC bill. We've watered down that commission. They have no regulatory authority anymore. That will all go through a government, a political appointee. The new governor, or maybe Kay Ivey will do it before she leaves office, but Governor Tuberville, who we all know is going to come into office, barring the Washington Post showing up in Alabama again, will determine who will be the cabinet official over the Public Service Commission, and that'll be whoever Alabama Power tells him to appoint, I'm sure. But the special interest changes hands over time, or whoever's got the more control changes hands. But I don't see it ever changing the way Montgomery operates.
Yeah. I
mean, we changed parties, and it took less than 16 years for special interests to buy the new party that took over. And I'm going to tell you, we forget this. Lawyers were huge supporters of Democrat candidates up until 2010. Well, the Democrats lost, and the trial lawyers started writing checks to Republicans the next morning. Those guys were on the ball. They didn't waste any time buying their politicians. They went right to work, and they didn't miss a beat. The rest of them took a little while to fight it out. But I guess the short answer to a very long answer is I don't think things are going to change all that much.
In the way that you've laid it out, you are correct. And that historical perspective matters. Because ultimately, isn't it true? JP and I were just talking about this. We have to be the people who are in charge of our destiny. And because of our laziness, this is what happens.
You're back to Abraham Lincoln's quote. And old Abe nailed it. He got it right. This is, and I've said this, y'all have said this, it's our own fault that it's this way. Whether it's apathy that's affecting you, or whether you just went extreme and voted for wild card person because you were tired of it, or whether you sat at home and did nothing. It's the voters' fault. We can blame the politicians, but they didn't get here by accident.
Wise indeed, Scott Buttram. Okay, well, we're going to reach back out again soon. We love our conversations with you and your perspective. Thank you for your time today, and keep stirring it up, in the media world. You're doing a great job.
Well, thank you. I love talking to you guys. And JP, I'm sorry I missed your call last week and we didn't hook up, but
It's all good.
love the work y'all were doing, and I'm available anytime because I enjoy talking to you.
Well, hey, expect us to reach out again real soon.
Sounds good, Amy Beth. Y'all have a great day.
You too. All right. Bye, Scott. All right, JP. I mean, he ended right up where we've been talking.
Yep.
Ultimately, and it's what Pastor Rich talked to us about on Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
It's us.
Yep.
It's us.
And I'm going to add another layer. It's not just the voters' fault. It's the church's fault.
It is the church's fault. I mean, could you not help but think that we've been taught for so long, and really it also circles back around, JP, I'm sure you would probably agree, to your end times eschatology, how you believe this is all going to end, and if it's going to end quickly, and there's these crisis conversions and hurry up because we want Jesus to come back, and we do want him to come back, or you have a long view, and you know that we're just planting seeds right now. Because do we really think Christ is going to come back for a defeated church or a powerful one? Not trying to ruffle feathers, but I'm just asking. Mm-hmm. But your view of that determines how you behave right now.
Yeah, and that was honestly one of the major factors into why I kind of changed my eschatological view. Because I kind of grew up in the end times wasn't really talked about that much when the churches I grew up at, but everything was viewed through a dispensationalist lens of sort of what's kind of like everything's done. Now we just kind of hurry up and wait. There was no real call to action, I guess, on the church's part, in terms of how we impose our worldview on the world around us. And that's going to seem hateful to non-Christians, but that really is, and to some Christians, that it really is our job as Christians, is to impose our morality and our worldview and the truth on our world around us. Because the part that Christians need to understand more is that our worldview is correct. And I love the question of, well, what do we say to the Muslims? What do we say to the non-believers? What do we say to the Freedom Against Religion? I think the name of the foundation was that is attacking Auburn. What do we say to them? What are the people that don't agree with us? Well, our worldview is correct, and we have evidence to back that up, and we are confident in our worldview being correct. So yeah, and we can minister and we can preach to those who don't believe in a loving way to come to our side. We still love you, but we want you to come to our side, and we're going to try to win you over. But our worldview is correct. So we're not going to sit back and watch our world around us decay to degeneracy, because that's not the truth and that's not correct. Christianity is correct. So that is the mindset of why I think Christians aren't voting, is because they don't have that mindset. They have well, everything's kind of over. We just kind of have to wait for Jesus at this point. And they kind of have no call to action, no fight of what to do. And that's why they don't vote. That's why they don't participate. It's because they are in a what's the point mode.
Just hang on till he gets here.
Yeah.
Well, the other part, two things. Number one is, if you read the book, apathy is not a part of it.
No.
So if you read it with a Middle Eastern eye, you read it the way our brothers and sisters in Christ read it way back when, your opinion on it would change, because it's not a book of apathy. Number two, we do borrow, since the Magna Carta and other original documents from also way back when, from history, we are borrowing from a Christian worldview. We do live like we have a Christian worldview. Otherwise, how did morality even get here? How do we even know what's right or wrong? How do we know that we have laws? Or why do we have laws? Why? Because we are borrowing from that biblical worldview, even if we refuse to acknowledge it. Your life acknowledges it every day, because you observe stop signs and you don't hurt your neighbor and you do your best. Those are all principles in the Bible. And those are principles that guided our Constitution, and it guided the Magna Carta, and it guided things even before then. So we live like it's true, even if we pretend it's not. And equally then, more powerfully, it goes back around to the church and figuring out, let's look at it from a Middle Eastern view, and from that old eye, believing that we were soldiers in a fight rather than defeated people who just stay at home and hide out until it's all over. We can do better, and guess what? We will. Don't go anywhere. We have much more to cover and in a short time to do it. We'll be right back.
Her thing. She was like, and we had to explain in America, you have to say your pronouns. And the woman was like, what? You are who you are. But in America, it's up for debate. But in other countries, that's not even an issue. They don't deal with it. And so we're kind of in that place where we're making up things.
Yes.
To be upset about, to be offended by, or to draw a line in the sand. This makes you on this side and me on this side, when we've missed the point. We need to go a little bit deeper than a soundbite, in my opinion.
But okay, so how did we get here? Before we move on with how we handle this, but how did we get here? Is this a social media thing? Is it? Yes, you're nodding.
Well, social media is definitely on the tail end of it, but it's been there before. It really, in my opinion, sociologically, you can go back to when we stopped asking for the third question and teaching critical thinking to our children. I can completely disagree with someone and respect their opinion, hold space for them to share it, because I could learn from the other side. There are things I could learn. I mean, I was brought up in a very small bubble. I was born on a military base, lived overseas during Vietnam in a military base in Germany, and watched the way they did it. Troops would come back from Vietnam and they would come to Germany and get safe and healed a little bit more before they'd transport them back to Walter Reed in Maryland. And so that's what my first 6 years of life was seeing what that looked like. It's a very narrow point of view. I thought military, it was like God, country, family is the way I was raised. And that's just not it. So when I came back, it was a very different world. And so that's what we've got to recognize is people only know how to live from their experience. If they are not taught to think critically and they're not taught to respect everyone's opinions, and not just that the opinion is valid, their opinion can be valid and wrong.
That's good.
Truth does not bend. Truth is a fact. Truth is from God. And if that's not your starting point, you've got to come up with what your true north is, your compass. But if truth doesn't align with my personal opinion, I've got to do business with the Lord to figure out why it doesn't. And what have I set up that I think this is more important? The kindness. Like if kindness is your idol, it has to be done in a certain way. Like my 15-year-old will tell me, well, if you'd have said it nicely. I'm like, child, nice was the first 62,000 times I've said it to you. You are no longer getting nice. And she's like, but you lose the argument, Mom, when you raise your voice. And I'm like, oh, well, that's going to be horrible for me. I'm Italian. I'm like, But that's what we've got to do is we've got to learn how to hold our space without getting angry, without elevating. Because for me, volume doesn't mean I'm angry. Volume just means I'm passionate. But this generation doesn't understand anger and passion. That's why we've got a lot of discord around people getting involved in things they should not be involved in, getting in the way of ICE. And like I have that conversation almost on a daily basis with my 26 to 15-year-old children, how important it is for them to understand they're not protecting these people. They're getting in the way of law and order. And it's a hard concept for them because the social-minded, emotional generation that they're in thinks we have to protect these people. And I'm like, who are you protecting? And we have to have those conversations. Yeah.
So do you think then on and still staying with the how and the why, do you think that we're here because of all the concentration of social emotional learning in school without those concrete logical things that we learned? We learned how to think logically. We learned how to think critically, and then it just kind of evaporated. Because it seems to me that from all of the emphasis on social emotional learning, we also have then that spike in 20%? I had the 20-ish% of 18 to or Gen Zs have increased and think they're identifying as LGBTQ. I mean, like these things that they're agreeing to or saying they believe in don't make any sense unless they were schooled and trained in all of the SEL techniques. Is that part of it?
It is definitely part of it. I think there's it's not a silo. Nothing is happening, independent of the other. So you take that, you take this push towards tolerance, acceptance, and I don't mean that either one of those are wrong in theory, because they're not wrong in theory. But what it introduced, it's kind of like the law of unintended consequences. I wanted to do this, but it also did this. And so that unintended consequence was we muddied a lot of waters. And as we started teaching it younger and younger and younger, these children don't have the structure and the framework in their brain yet to feel safe when we discuss these topics. So that's why we've got so much anxiety in these kids, is because they're handling topics that we as adults struggle to deal with.
Hey, y'all, welcome back. So in a few minutes, we have our allegedly segment. It's going to be a banger. JP, before then, don't forget, you might let me do Adventures in Woke.
Oh, yeah.
I don't even know if we're going to get to have time. But first, we want to cover the story about Nancy Guthrie. Y'all may have seen it. But according to Not the Bee and other outlets, Nancy Guthrie's kidnappers sent a note claiming she perished shortly after she was taken and is buried in nature. What else do you see and do you have regarding Nancy?
Let's play this quick Fox News. It's a little over a minute long. Breaking it down this morning.
Ransom note in the investigation indicated that the 84-year-old died after she was abducted.
Todd Pyro joins us with the details. Good morning, Todd.
A tough update here. Good morning to all three of you. The note said Nancy was, quote, buried with nature. The sender or senders of the first two ransom notes have not been publicly identified, and there have been no reported arrests in connection to them. The notes were received within days of Nancy Guthrie's disappearance. The first note demanded millions in Bitcoin in exchange for Nancy's return. Savannah Guthrie spoke out about the two notes back in March.
I believe the two notes that we received, that we responded to, I tend to believe those are real.
So, you think it's right?
That she's passed on.
She's gone.
That's kind of what I figured, honestly, to start. I just figured if they weren't able to find her with the amount of FBI presence there and everywhere they looked, that was the unfortunate reality, I thought.
I agree. It's just been Savannah Guthrie is too famous and has too many options available.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm so sorry that her mother, it looks like her mother is gone. That's a tragic story. But you had that feeling from the beginning. I mean, maybe for a day you thought she'd be returned. I think it was an accident gone wrong. That's what I think. I think they were probably going to kidnap her, wanted some money. And then maybe, because remember, they talked about medication that she needed or some such. She had a pacemaker, right?
Yeah.
It feels like it just went wrong. And I'm sorry for that. So that's tragic. Is there anything else? No update since this morning about that?
No.
Okay.
No update since this morning, but I want I want closure to this case, mainly for the Guthries.
Yeah.
Because can you imagine not being able to have your own mother to, have a proper funeral, burial? So I hope that they can come to a answer on that one, just for their sake, because I mean, it's been months. This story broke, what was it, in March?
Yeah.
So it's been about 3 months, almost 4.
It's been awful.
Yeah.
So on another note, you may or may not follow women's basketball. My husband is a big fan of Caitlin Clark because she is an excellent ball player. Yes, we understand the WNBA is bought and paid for by the NBA. So for as much as the women scream feminism and feminist tropes, we know the men are still floating them. However, Caitlin Clark puts butts in seats, as does Angel Reese and a few others that are breakaway stars. However, the problem with Caitlin is that she is a brat. A brat. She loses it frequently. She gets fouls often. They don't usually break her way. But don't you think at some point you have to ask yourself, is it me? But Caitlin Clark was upset with a text she received during the team's win over the Phoenix Mercury. I don't say Mercury. Mercury on Monday night and made her thoughts known. She was involved in an entanglement with DeWanna Bonner in the fourth quarter. She was called for a foul, but received a tech after she clapped her hand. Or hands, because she have two. If you play basketball, you have two hands.
Sometimes.
She was, you're right. There is that one guy. She was seen pleading with officials, asking for an explanation for the technical. Caitlin, this is just from my heart to yours. If you would stop acting a fool, maybe every once in a while, they would call a foul in your direction and put it on the other person. But because you go berserk, and clearly your dad isn't in the stands anymore to go, calm down, Caitlin. These things are going to happen more and more often.
Yeah.
Am I wrong?
No, you're not wrong.
I mean, it kind of epitomizes what's wrong with the athletic industry is they've been coddled. They've been told they're special. Some of them are special, but the tippy top, really best ones are just humble guys and girls going out there and doing the work. But for that select few who have been stars since they were little kids, this is actually the result of that, I think.
Yeah, I think so.
But if Caitlin would stop acting like a crazy woman, this also would stop happening. That was just the ref saying, sit down. Who sings that song? Sit down. It's a rap.
Oh, it's who is it?
Sit down. Is it it's a good song if you just only go with that phrase.
Yeah, and maybe
the rest of them are pretty bad. Sit down.
Kendrick Lamar.
Kendrick Lamar.
Humble. Sit down. Sit down.
Be humble.
Sit
Sit down.
Be humble.
Be humble. Sit down. Like, sit down.
Be humble.
Sit down. That's all I got.
That's good. Because, I mean, she really is the WNBA.
She is.
So I understand if it's easy for that to get to your head, but what comes before the fall?
Pride.
Mm-hmm.
JP, you're spot on. Okay. There's a judge. Her name is Sparkle. That's all I'm going to tell you.
What?
She's from the Dominican Republic or some such.
Sparkle? That's her name?
Sparkle.
That's funny.
Her name is Sparkle. Please hold.
You think she's a good or bad judge?
Her name is Sparkle. What do you think?
Probably bad. She probably sentences
where did her story go? I had it saved this morning. Clearly, I didn't save it well enough. Anyway, okay, here we go. Ta-da! I'll just let you decide. This is from Not the Bee. A Biden-appointed federal judge named Sparkle Suknanan, who was born in Trinidad and Tobago, in a shock to no one, has blocked the Trump administration from using a revamped, centralized immigration database to help check the accuracy of the voter rolls. I go back. Her name is Sparkle. Are you shocked by that, JP?
No. Who would name their kid Sparkle, first off?
I mean, they're from Trinidad and Tobago. Maybe that's just what they call the kids there. Like Butterfly.
Yeah.
Rainbow Dash. Did your sister play with My Little Ponies?
I think maybe. I think she maybe
You
had a
people my
phase.
age that were born in the 1900s know all about My Little Ponies.
My Little Pony.
Rainbow Dash.
Was that a My Little Pony?
Oh, yeah. It had rainbow hair. So anyway, I just thought that was ridiculous and we needed to talk about it. That's all.
Let's do one more story here before allegedly about the 2 more people were arrested for this plot at the UFC event at the
Ooh.
White House.
Tell me more.
Yeah, so if y'all did not hear, there was a foiled plot to have a drone attack where drones would attack people attending the UFC event on the White House lawn and then would force people to run into sniper fire. So this was a very legit planned out terrorist attack with many moving pieces that was stopped right before the event. But now 2 more people have been arrested in connection with it. And the head honcho, the ringleader of this attack, was an illegal alien. So that tracks. But in my head, yeah, kind of what we talked about last week of if that mom wouldn't have said something with it, the FBI have been on it and caught it, especially with all the surveillance state that we have, and that wasn't caught. It's kind of scary, but I would have ruined a great event. But it also just reminds you that we are under constant threat. And I saw Bongino on Fox talking about how drones is the new threat in terms of terrorist attacks, which is scary to think about.
It would have been, I know this is a very descriptive word, but it would have been a bloodbath.
Yeah.
And so that mom deserves a medal for turning her son in. And I was not aware that 2 more people had been arrested. That is good news. The other part of it is to the people who happen to be on the left say, well, other things tried to happen to Biden and Obama. This many things? Did this many people try to kill Trump? Do ideas have consequences and all those things that unhinged humans are saying online? Do we not think that has a consequence? Or is that just silly old me?
That's just silly.
That's just ridiculous, isn't it?
That is very ridiculous.
That's ridiculous. So I'm glad they've been arrested. But hey, FBI, y'all are not going to get a break during this administration and in the following Republican administrations as well. Anywho, okay.
You want to do allegedly?
JP, I'm up for allegedly. Are you?
I am up for allegedly. Now we need to do a disclaimer, I think, maybe before the allegedly itself every week, because some people don't quite get what allegedly is if you're a new time listener. But allegedly is not us making fun of anybody and their voices. It's just us speculating or alleging on some stories that we're hearing around the state and around the nation. But we do it in a Southern accent because it's us pontificating and prognosticating. As a Yankee word I hear from time to time, and a Southern gossip voice, as if we are some Southern folk in the local barbershop or the local cafe, and we're just discussing what we're hearing in an allegedly voice. So
that's right.
It's not mocking nobody. Nothing. We're not making fun of nobody. It's just having good old fun. But some people just don't get that. So I think it's proper for us to explain ourselves beforehand.
Virgil, I'm so glad that you explained because people don't understand. We love our Southern voices. And when we stop, and if I ever hear somebody with a real good Southern voice, I just stop and I think, this is a marvel. It is a wonder. But it's also a safe way to talk about the Southern gossip.
Yes.
Like we was at the beauty salon. So, Virgil.
Yes.
Would you like to go first? No, you want me to go first?
I can go first if you would like.
Excuse me, Virgil. I'm so sorry. That's your alter ego.
Who is that?
I don't know. Virgil, blast it. What you got, Virgil?
Well, we talked about it briefly to start the show, However, I think this deserves a little more time to discuss. But allegedly, we're having a green algae attack in the Lincoln Memorial pool in front of the Lincoln Memorial. Now, this pool, if you remember, so Trump has refilled the pool, and as of late, like a couple months ago, and it's been a big ordeal. It's now summertime, and it's supposed to be a very beautiful way to appreciate our monuments and to just have a beautiful nation's capital, have a beautiful pool, not to swim in a pool, but it's just a pool that you can look at with, it reflects the Washington Monument, Lincoln Memorial, and such. Well, anywho, the liberals don't see it that way. They see it as fascism. And how have they decided to attack this fascist pool? Because, pools are fascist, if you didn't know. They put algae in the pool. And I'm reading on here on X, the $14 million renovated pool refilled in early June for the nation's 250th anniversary quickly grew algae due to its shallow, stagnant design using unfiltered tidal basin water. Hydrogen peroxide treatment fought the algae but damaged the new liner, causing it to peel, while officials arrested 5 people, including Olympian David Hearn, who says he just touched a loose flap, and issued citations for alleged vandalism. National Guard troops now protect the site amidst protester gatherings and partisan arguments as crews work around the clock on repairs around or ahead of July 4th. So think about it. When we played the video, and maybe we should play that video again of the pro-algae protesters.
I think you should, Virgil.
You know what? I'm gonna pull up this video here. Okay. All right, now this is the pro-algae protesters in D.C. at the Lincoln Memorial pool.
She is doing good today, honey. Team algae. Whoa. Everybody's proud of you. You are single-handedly doing more to fight fascism than any American has. Yes. Let's go, algae. Yeah, algae. Woo, algae!
So, first of all,
bless her heart.
I'll just start with this. I would suggest a new hairdo. First things first, and maybe get a job. But if you think a pool is fascist, then you've lost the plot completely. I'm just saying. And then now you're allegedly, and a former Olympian, allegedly, David Hearn is vandalizing the pool to put algae in it. Then you got problems.
It's funny, Virgil, if I just may, pardon the interruption, but isn't it funny that when he was a swimmer, he's an athlete. Was he a swimmer? What did he do?
I believe.
It's so funny because as a swimmer.
Oh, no, he was a canoer.
Okay, so even as a canoer, it sounds like manure, but even as a canoer, he wasn't going to, canoe his little boat and paddle right to algae. They didn't want it because it's going to give him an ear infection were he to tump over into the water. And he decided he would fight fascism with some algae.
And now I was going to say the lady, but the it, because I don't know what that is, was saying you've done more. The algae has done more to fight fascism than any American has. Need I remind them of World War II, where hundreds of thousands of Americans died fighting real fascism, the Nazis, the real fascists. And that was way more brave. They stormed the beaches. But now the anti-fascists of today who think that Donald Trump and the American government is fascist, their way of fighting fascism is putting some slimy algae in the pool.
Virgil.
Seems mighty. Now, this is all allegedly that these David Hearns and the others are putting algae deliberately in the pool. But regardless, they're celebrating the algae in the pool as fighting fascism, which I just think is quite ridiculous, if you ask me.
It is ridiculous, Virgil.
And you know what? I'll just end it with this. I guess my wife is fighting my fascism by putting algae in our pool. Maybe I need to address that if that's what algae is fighting fascism. Maybe she's fighting the fascist of the household by putting algae in the pool. Allegedly, maybe. I'll have to deliberate with my wife when I get home about that one.
I think you should.
Maybe.
What's your wife's name?
Oh, I was going to say Ophelia, but that's your name.
Well, no, that's her name.
Yeah, that's right.
She who is not here.
She's not my wife. It is Linda, actually.
Linda. Okay, that's great. Well, Virgil, here's my story. And I just think Excuse me, I need to get in my extra Southern voice. Excuse me. That was my
The Yankee side.
Yeah, I'm so sorry.
And no Yankees allowed here.
Allegedly, Virgil, the MLB tells Senator Josh Hawley it didn't discipline players who wore Bible verses on gay pride hats, and they don't plan to. But you know what I think is so funny is the internet is forever. But the Major League Baseball Commissioner, Rob Manfred, said the San Francisco Giants players who wore Bible verses on their Pride Night hats will not be fined or disciplined, clarifying the league's position after the MLB warned 3 pitchers over their uniform alterations. And I just think that is so ridiculous. So Josh Hawley, who sent the MLB commissioner, Rob Manfred, I don't know what his name is.
He's a biscuit.
He's a biscuit. He's a burned biscuit. Josh Hawley sent an MLB commissioner, Rob Manfred, a strongly worded letter and also threatened to, okay, this is a real big word for me, y'all, subpoena him if he fined the players who wrote on their gay hat. That's what they said. They said that. Had this to say. He said they are not going to be in trouble. Even though last week, Virgil, am I right? Were they not about to get in trouble? I thought they were in trouble.
They were issued a warning not to do
that's right,
anymore.
a warning. Well, anyway, here's what somebody on the socials said. Billy Binion is his name. And the letter does not admit the MLB was wrong. So critics were upset with Hawley for saying that. So here's what this Billy Binion, which kind of sounds like the word bunion, so I'm going to call him Billy Bunyan, says Josh Hawley's lying. I don't know what else to say. This letter just reiterates what we already knew. The MLB players ain't required, and I just threw the ain't in there because that's how we talk. They ain't required to wear pride uniforms, and they were never threatened or disciplined. The snowflakery here is out of control. It's embarrassing, which, Virgil, I find ironic because it's the snowflakes in the first place that were going to make them do what they said.
Mm-hmm.
I find that ironic.
Yes, it is quite ironic. And you know what this seems to me? This seems like a little bit of a CYA on the MLB's part. I don't think they expected this much of a backlash for warning these MLB players for writing Bible verses. But I'm reading a story here from Fox News about this occasion. And apparently Manfred said that, we found out that the Giants players weren't adequately informed that they could opt out of the Pride Night event and could not wear the hat. So, we're not going to discipline them. We'll just warn them moving forward. It seems like a little bit of a backtrack than before. Here's my thing, though. And I'm reading here in this store. It says the commissioner said MLB adopted a policy in 2023 of barring clubs from using special uniforms, hats, or equipment for team celebration days, except under narrow circumstances. It says, however, Manfred said the Dodgers and Giants were allowed to keep using pride emblems on uniforms and hats under a grandfathered exception because Los Angeles and San Francisco are home to large LGBTQ communities, and both clubs wanted to show support for those fans. So why do the Dodgers and the Giants, why are they allowed to do this when the rest of the MLB is quote not allowed to do this? And why is the Giants not telling their players that they can opt out if that was the case?
Well, and also to tack on to that, my friend Meg Basham, she's not my friend, but I just wish she were my friend, although I've talked to her a couple of times. She also followed up on all you are saying and saying, in regard to the MLB's claim that their policy not to allow a player to write, attach, affix, embroider, or otherwise display nicknames or messages on apparel or playing equipment is enforced without regard to the substance of the messaging. Meg Basham says this is not true. And you know how we know it's not true? Because in 2020, the MLB specifically allowed players to alter their uniforms on behalf of the highly contentious social issue with Black Lives Matter. They allowed players to add BLM patches and BLM messages on their cleats. This is clearly viewpoint discrimination and unequal accommodation. And to that I say, make Basham, amen. So today, though, all that today, circling back Psaki around, the MLB is saying, oh, no, they weren't disciplined. And they're not going to be disciplined. Those players that altered their hats. It's fine. Okay. Okay, biscuits. Okay.
I think what I just want is can we just play ball?
Please just play ball.
Can we just play ball?
That's right. Just play ball. There's no crying in baseball. Y'all quit trying to make us cry. I don't care what side you're on. Quit trying to make us cry. We just want to watch y'all play basketball, football, baseball, and I'm not sure if there are any other sports in the universe. Oh, soccer. But we just want you to play ball. And then after that, zip it. Ta-da! All right, JP. I'm sorry I kept calling you JP. While we were in our acting voice. And scene, yeah. Sorry.
Would you rather me wear a name tag during allegedly this is Virgil?
Yes, if you could. That'd be great. I just sorry.
It's okay.
It's one of those days. You know, it kind of started happening when the coffee got cold.
You see, where's your mug warmer?
It's I need to bring it back.
Can I just say something?
Yes, sir.
Allison's Christmas gift to me, one of the Christmas gifts to me, this past Christmas of this mug warmer. I think this is the gift I've used the most of any gift before. I use this thing every day.
The mug warmer is spectacular. And you know what? My husband actually, this is embarrassing. I just need to bring both of them to the studio. He not only brought me a mug warmer, but the cup also stays hot.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's a whole thing.
That's pretty cool.
It's beautiful dusty sage color. I just need to bring that. And then I won't be sad. But I got distracted because I took a swig of coffee and my brain just went.
Well, and the amount of times I burnt my hand on this, it's probably like 2 or 3 times, but I just had to feel for myself. Why am I talking in the virtual accent?
I don't know.
But I had to feel for myself how hot it is. But if you read it, it says hot area do not touch. But clearly I didn't believe it enough. And I wanted to feel for myself just exactly how hot it is. And it's hot. Just say.
It's real hot. If you don't, in fact, it's so hot that if you don't drink your coffee in a timely fashion, the coffee that's left in the cup will boil and burn your tongue.
It will boil and it will get stuck in the cup at the bottom of it. Yeah.
It's my fault. That's the theme of the day. It's my fault. So
why is that the theme of the day?
Well, because it's like the church's fault. It's our fault. Election things.
I was hoping you weren't saying that like the theme of the day is it's your fault.
No. I mean, but you know what I'm saying? Like overarching is we were having different conversations throughout the day. I'm to blame. It's my own log. It's my own fault for cold coffee. I will bring what I need tomorrow. You will never hear this complaint from me again. All right, JP.
Mm-hmm.
You got us some would you rathers?
Let's see.
And then, by the way, while you're looking tomorrow, let's play Adventures in Woke.
Yes.
And we're all going to take apart this little phrase that I've been seeing about. Just about, meaning around. I've been seeing it. I need y'all to take it apart.
Adventures in Woke World.
I love it.
Would you rather be able to run on your hands or write with your feet?
If I ran on my hands, could I still stand up and be normal?
Yeah, I think so.
I think maybe I'd like to write with my feet. That'd be quite a feat.
I'd like to run on my hands. Can you imagine how fun that would be?
It would be so fun.
Would you rather live under the sea or in space?
Ooh, could I get back up to Earth?
No, I think you're living under it. Like
you're like living. There's no leaving.
There's no leaving.
Oh, under the sea. You're going to say space. You're going to say space.
No, I think I'll do under the sea because I like to see the cool fish around me. In space, it's just nothing.
Yeah. It's
kind of
complete nothing.
scary.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll go under the sea.
All right. Okay. You got one more?
Nah, I think that's a good one to end on.
It is a good one to end on.
Mm-hmm.
Tomorrow's going to be Wednesday, which means hot flash news and other merriment like Adventures in Woke. I think I said that right.
Mm-hmm.
What the Hell County Wednesday. So get yourself ready. Same time, same channel. And don't forget to stay on the right side. See you tomorrow.